Jeff.
It's time to podcast.
Under our bed.
Here we go.
Let's do it.
What's on your mind this week, Sal?
This has been an interesting day.
It has been an interesting day. Some days are so frustrating.
It is true. They
just don't go how you want.
No.
How you envisioned.
Nothing happens.
How you planned.
Yeah. Nothing happens.
I hate days like that, don't you?
It's really frustrating.
Yeah, it is.
Really frustrating.
Well, we've been spending some time in the ER lately.
We have, unfortunately.
That's frustrating.
It's so frustrating.
But there's nothing like spending time in the ER to like completely change your day. Completely, that's something you don't plan for.
No, your schedule completely changes when that happens.
It sure does.
It's a whole different day.
It made me think about planning versus flowing.
Mm-hmm.
One of my goals for the new year is about flow, to like spend more time in flow. Less, maybe a little less planning, maybe a little more flowing. Less expectation, actually, more flow.
Interesting.
That's one of my... But isn't that what plans are about? It's kind of about your expectations. Like this is how I expect my day to go. This is how I expect my week to go. This is how I expect my life to go. And then it doesn't ever really go like that.
Well, the thing that frustrates me is it's not necessarily what I expect to have happen, because I know things will come up. Mm-hmm. Things always come up.
Yeah.
But when, I have my list written down of what I want to work on that day, and it's more like I would like to get these things done.
Yeah.
And the frustrating part for me is when I have a list of even, let's say, only 5 things, which is not a lot of things for my lists lately.
Yeah.
But if I have 5 things on it and I'm thinking when I wake up, and I guess this is an expectation.
Yep. Here we go.
Oh, yes. Only 5 things. I can do this today. Like, I'm going to get all these done, and tomorrow I get to start fresh, with a blank slate. And that does not happen very rarely.
That's about your expectation, though. You're expecting to check things off to get things done, and it just does not happen like that.
It doesn't, and that is so frustrating.
So what is the balance between expectation and planning versus kind of going with the flow? Because you never know what's going to happen. I mean, as we've learned, at least, 2 days in the last month that have just been completely blown apart and changed, altered by time in the ER.
Yeah.
One for me and one for our daughter.
Yeah. In the blink of an eye, it changes.
Completely. You drop everything, right? You rearrange everything. You change everything. It's hard.
Yeah, it's hard. But again, I do think it is helpful to understand and tell yourself, I have tomorrow.
Hopefully.
And even listen, I know and you have things written every day and you're booked out and whatever, but it's not like these things, obviously the most important thing is what I'm doing right then in the ER.
Yeah. Is it ever not the most important thing, like what's in front of you? I think that might always be the most important. Well, maybe always is strong. Oh, really? I think most of the time what's right in front of you is most important. And we're missing it because we're looking down at our phones. We're preoccupied with what's happening, what's going to happen later in the day, what's going to happen tomorrow or next week or year. I think we miss actually a lot of our life in expectation and in kind of planning. I'm a big planner, so much so that, well, I don't know if I want to say this. I still use a Franklin Covey planner for notes. I went away from it for a couple months, and I like the organization of the notes. I have meetings every day that I'm taking some notes on and writing down thoughts or feelings. It's just the easiest way for me to index and look at that. And so I'm a big planner. I have been, I guess I kind of always have been. I'm trying to live more in like a flow state, though. Going with the flow, enjoying the flow, paying attention to what's right in front of you, being fully immersed and engaged and with what's in front of you. That's really hard, as you know, for me to do.
Yeah. I guess I'm taking what's right in front of you as like whatever is literally right in front of you. And like you said, like it might be your phone, it might be your email. I don't know that that's always the most important thing.
Yeah. What do you think is the most important thing?
I think, I think your relationships are the most important thing.
Yeah.
I think your family in particular, number one, is like your most important thing. Mm-hmm. And that's why I say, like, I find, I think we've talked maybe a little bit about this on previous episodes, but I find that, I might be cleaning something up or whatever, and one of the kids, Mom, and I just ignore it, well, I'm busy doing this right now. You can wait, and most of the time they can wait. But sometimes you miss it if you say, just a minute, it's over. You missed the moment, So
you try to be there for those moments. It's hard though, because how many times do you think Mom is said on average at our house a day?
Oh, 100.
100 times.
I don't know. It seems like 100.
It feels like
a million. I
wanted to say
1,000, but I knew that was not realistic.
Well, there's 20, so that would be 4 times an hour. But obviously the kids
they're
in school right now. Yeah. But anyways, a lot.
A lot. And obviously you can't do that for everything. And everything's not important. Like I said, some mom things aren't, it's something they can do. It's not, they don't need me.
Yeah.
But I don't know. That's the hard thing, is figuring out what is important to drop things for and what isn't. Yeah. I don't know. It's tricky.
That is hard, I think, to decide. And you just never know what's going to come up in life.
No, but it is important to be flexible.
It is.
It's really important to be flexible.
Do you get? It seems like as you get a little bit older, you get a little less flexible, generally speaking. Do you agree with that?
It does kind of seem like that. But I would almost say, for me personally, I feel like I've gotten more flexible.
That's true.
Out of necessity.
I feel like maybe I've gotten less.
Yeah.
But maybe that's just coming towards you and you're coming towards me.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe a little less flexible, a little more rigid, a little more like planning oriented.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. It's interesting.
Like I said, expectation. We listened to this interesting podcast recently. We were reminded, some of you may know this name somewhat, but of Gordon B. Hinckley, who kind of famously quipped, I think, or by the way, maybe it was his wife, Marjorie. Mm-hmm. What's the key to a successful marriage?
Yeah.
Lower your expectations. Remember that?
Yeah. That's hilarious.
Yeah. Do you think that's true?
In some, yeah. I think that there's a lot in that.
So how does that apply to life?
Oh.
Let's not talk about our marriage. That's a little too personal.
Let's not go there.
Lowering your expectations in marriage. I mean, by the way, I remember when we first heard that, we hated that. And that is true in some form or respects. But again, let's broaden it out. How much is like lowering your expectations a key to like having a happy life?
Well, like we said, very few things go as you are planning.
Yeah.
And as you expect. So that's going to be a pretty sad life if your happiness is based on your expectations, that's pretty sad, I don't know. I don't know, though, if lowering your expectations brings happiness, or just realizing that my expectation might not turn out this way. It might not happen the way I'm expecting. And just realizing that and having a sense of reality in your high expectation.
Yeah.
I don't think it's necessary to lower it, but to realize that, okay, this might not turn out the way I want it to.
Yeah.
And that I'm expecting it, and I need to be prepared for that. I still want it to turn out this way.
Yeah.
But if it doesn't, it's not going to be the end of my world. It's going to be okay. And I can be flexible and change and move with what's happening.
But some of the key to, I think, a successful life as well is having high expectations, expecting a lot of yourself, expecting a lot of others. pushing yourself to be the best you can be. So it is a tricky balance.
Yeah. Yeah. Because I don't think that, you don't want to, like, if you have a goal. I was in a meeting recently and we were talking about an expectation, and with kids, an expectation with young children. And, it was this discussion of, well, we have this goal. Do we, but we know it won't be met right now. It's going to take a long time to be met. So do we keep that goal, or do we kind of change it to so that we feel like we're meeting it before we've met it? You know what I mean? Like that kind of a thing. And the consensus was, no, that's not right. That's not what we're going for here. We know eventually this can be met. And we don't want to lower that just to say we met it.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm. So how do you balance that? How do you balance expectation and planning versus rolling with the punches and being happy with whatever comes?
I don't know. I think
I think you're good at that.
Really?
Yeah.
I kind of feel like if I had that answer, I'd have books and I'd be famous for speaking about it.
You are famous. Really?
No, I don't know. I do think that's something
I think you're good at that.
With. I think that
I think you just have a perspective of what's most important. I think you're good at keeping first things first, or keeping what's most important in your view and keeping that at the forefront.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that I am pretty good at doing that.
Yeah. So I hope you don't go to the ER. But sometimes you go to the ER.
Sometimes you do.
We thought about just talking about the ER, but we didn't. We wanted to be positive.
We didn't want to talk about waiting for 4 hours.
And, interesting personalities in the ER. I think it would be so hard. Obviously our hearts and our minds and our thoughts go out to healthcare workers right now. Obviously,
goodness.
With COVID, and wouldn't it be so hard though to work in an ER? You're constantly seeing emergencies and or thought of emergencies.
Mm-hmm.
And somehow you've got to stay empathetic, but you're not, I saw this an hour ago, or, oh no, not someone like this again. Or do you know what I mean? Like it'd be really hard.
It would be really hard. And there's only one of you, and there's sometimes 30 people in there at the same time, and I think there's not 30 nurses, so that would be tricky too.
Yeah. Our thoughts and prayers go out to healthcare workers who are doing their best to keep us safe and healthy.
Yes, thank you.
But we're not going to talk about COVID because that's down. We're not going to talk about the ER. We're talking about living more in the moment, living more in the flow, paying attention to what's right in front of you, maybe a little less planning, maybe a little less expectation. Just living your best life as it comes, I guess. Because there's so much in life you can't control.
And there's something too to be said about spontaneity.
Yes.
If you're too planned and rigid, like I can be at times, it's hard to be spontaneous.
Yeah.
And it is still hard for me to be spontaneous, as you know.
Yeah. Spontaneous is fun.
Yeah.
I threw out a spontaneous idea 8 hours ago.
Yes, you did.
Very spontaneous.
Yes, you did.
It didn't happen.
Unfortunately, it didn't.
It didn't work out, but you were game for it, so I'm glad about that.
Yeah, see?
It was a big spontaneous idea, by the way, a big plan.
I have tried to be more flexible.
Yeah, I appreciate that.
More flow going.
More going with the flow.
That's a new term, flow going.
You heard it here first, more flow going. Try it in 2022.
Yeah, try it out. Let us know how it goes for you. How the flow goes for you.
Let us know how you balance expectation versus, being present and doing what's in front of you.
And planning and getting things done.
I think one of the hard things for me is I feel so fulfilled and happy when I have a day where it's like, this is how I thought it was going to be. And I checked off most of the things on my list and so much progress today. You know what I mean? It's almost like you become addicted or whatever to that feeling of success, or it's going my way. Yes. It's going right. You know what I mean?
Or like what I said, checking everything off on your list. Yes, I got all of it done.
Yeah.
There's satisfaction in that.
There is.
But there's also, there's more to it than just that. So.
All right, Sal. Good night.
Good night.
Love you.
Love you.
Please leave a rating and review for Under Our Bed at your favorite podcast platform. And don't forget to subscribe to the Extraordinary Us podcast with Jeff Burningham as well.
Hey guys, it's Jeff from the Extraordinary Us podcast. Thank you so much for listening to Under Our Bed with Jeff and Sal, my wife and I. We record from a studio literally directly under our master bedroom. It's a great little place for us to hang out and have conversations that I hope are meaningful to you. There's another podcast I do, if you have not heard. It's called The Extraordinary Us, where I interview people, many people that you have heard of from a variety of fields, and we talk about life. Coming up in 2022, we're going to talk about the future. What does the future of the world look like in regards to technology, cryptocurrency, governments, and other things? Can't wait to see you there. Hope that you'll subscribe to Extraordinary Us.